All right, let's get into this. We're going to explore something that's right at the heart of our modern world, but we're going to do it through a myth. A myth that's as old as the sea itself. Ready? Let's dive in. Think about that line for a second. It captures the entire problem we're facing, doesn't it? This isn't some loud, obvious attack on our attention. No, it's way more subtle. It's that alluring whisper, a perfectly timed ping, that soft blue light from your screen, a promise that's basically saying, hey, someone wants you. Come on over. So the source material we're digging into today lays out this really powerful metaphor. It says our digital devices, yeah, they're the modern-day sirens. And just like in the Odyssey, they're singing a song that's been perfectly tailored to hook into our deepest, most personal longings.
And when you look at it this way, the parallel is, well, it's pretty striking. The ancient sirens, they just reflected a sailor's own desires right back at him until, he crashed his ship on the rocks. Today's digital sirens, they're doing the exact same thing, only this time our focus is the ship. And the rocks, well, the rocks are that endless, mesmerizing, infinite scroll.
Okay, so you might be thinking, this is a nice, poetic idea, but it's actually so much more than that. This whole thing has a deep biological basis. The reason this enchantment is so incredibly effective is because it's literally leveraging the wiring of our own brains against us. And right here, this is the engine that drives the whole thing. It's called a variable reward schedule. Think about it. Every single time you pull down to refresh your feed, you're basically pulling the lever on a slot machine. You don't know what you're going to get. That unpredictable reward, maybe a new like, a funny video, a surprise message, it creates this powerful dopamine loop that just leaves you craving the next hit. But wait, it goes even deeper, like right down to our actual biology. The source we're looking at points to two really powerful forces at play here. First, there's epigenetics. That's where your environment can literally tell your genes which ones to switch on or off. And then there's neuroplasticity, which is how your brain physically strengthens the pathways you use the most. So what's happening? Essentially, our digital world is actively using these forces to reshape us, to widen those synaptic superhighways for distraction right inside our own minds. I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. This is not just about losing a few hours of productivity here and there. No, this is about the long-term trajectory of who you are becoming, one swipe and one click at a time. The stakes here are they're incredibly high. Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds pretty bleak, right? But here's the thing. Every enchantment has a counterspell. And the antidote isn't some new app or another complicated productivity system. It's actually an ancient practice, a really fundamental shift in how we relate to our own inner world. And this right here is the absolute key. You don't fight the siren song. You don't try to argue with it or suppress the urge. Instead, you just watch it. You become a witness to that impulse to grab for that glowing rectangle. So, how does this actually work in the moment? Okay, here are the steps. 1, you feel the pull in your body. You know, that little flutter in your chest, the restlessness in your hands? That's it. 2, you just name the impulse without judging it. Just say to yourself, there's the urge to scroll. 3, you let the wave pass. Just breathe and allow that feeling to rise and fall. And finally, number 4, and this part is so crucial. Once it passes, you take in the good. You savor that feeling of freedom for a full 30 seconds. Now, why does that last step matter so much? Because every time you do this, you are physically rewiring your brain. States become traits. You're building a brand new neural pathway for sovereignty, for being in control. Each time you practice this, that temporary state of freedom starts to become a more permanent trait. And slowly, the siren song just grows more and more distant. All right, so that's the theory, that's the internal move, but how do we actually put this into practice day to day? Well, the source gives us 3 powerful living practices, daily rituals, really, to forge this shield of presence right on the battlefield of daily life. So witnessing the urge, that's the internal shift. But how do we build that muscle in our actual lives? This is where these 3 concrete practices come in. They're forged for the exact digital battlefield that, let's face it, we all walk every single day. They're designed to build our resilience, piece by piece. Okay, so let's break them down. The 3 rituals are the dawn anchor, the deep work citadel, and the evening harvest. First up, the dawn anchor. It's simple, but it's not easy. For the first 90 minutes after you wake up, your phone stays in another room, out of sight. Now, this isn't about depriving yourself. It's about setting your agenda for the day before the world's agenda comes rushing in. It's like tying yourself to the mast before you even set sail. Next, we have the Deep Work Citadel. This is about building a fortress of focus. The goal is 2 90-minute blocks every day with 0 notifications. I mean, none. No pings, no alerts, no, I'll just check for a second. This is your sacred time to do the work that really matters, to enter the labyrinth of a task with a single, unbroken thread of attention. And finally, number 3, the evening harvest. Right before you go to sleep, you take 3 minutes. That's it. And in those 3 minutes, you consciously recall one single moment from your day when you felt truly present, not distracted, just there. You feel it again in your body. The source calls this epigenetic gratitude, which is just a fascinating idea. It's a deliberate act to prime your biology for rest and to reinforce the very state of being you want to cultivate more of. Now, when you start combining these practices, something really profound begins to shift. And it's not just about managing your time a little better, it's about transforming your very identity. And this is so important to understand. The goal isn't to make the sirens go away. Their song is now it's the background music of our world. The real victory is changing your relationship to it. You can still hear the song, but you're no longer the sailor who hears and immediately obeys. And this forges a whole new identity. You become the sailor who hears the call, but instead of getting pulled onto the rocks, you can actually smile with this kind of ancient knowing. You realize you are the one in control, with your hand held firmly on the tiller of your own attention. So this brings us to a final, really thought-provoking question. We always frame this as a battle of willpower, right? A desperate struggle for more discipline. But what if that's not the answer? What if the real move is something else entirely? And that's where we're going to leave it today. The ultimate act of rebellion against these digital sirens, it isn't about fighting them head-on. It's about the quiet but devastating choice to simply stop abandoning yourself. It's a quiet choice, yeah, but it's one that changes absolutely everything.